Good evening, this is QTV News coming to you from our studios on Keraba Avenue. I am Asmauba. Thanks for joining us. Here are the main news headlines. In a hugely significant development, President Adama Barrow on Monday hosted a national dialogue with political party leaders at the State House in Banjul. The International Institute for Democracy and Electoral Assistance, International IDEA, is convening an induction meeting with National Assembly members on the resumption of the constitutional reform process in the Gambia. As part of efforts to curb smuggling of migrants in the Gambia Law Students Association centered its Law Day celebration on the subject to raise awareness amongst university students. And in sports news, host nation Cote d'Ivoire are the champions of Africa after edging out Nigeria in the final of AFCON 2023. Those are other stories coming up. Do stay tuned. Thank you for staying with us. Now, in a hugely significant development, President Adama Barrow on Monday hosted a national dialogue with political party leaders at the State House in Banjul. The historic occasion addressed various topics and sectors of the country and featured calls for government actions to address them. QTV's Mamadou Lamin Choi has been covering this event in Banjul.
Under the same roof, on the same platform, leaders and representatives of the 19 political parties in the Gambia at the State House in Banjul at this historic event at the invitation of President Adama Barrow for national dialogue on the state of the country's affairs.
A key objective for this consultative meeting is to build consensus on holding and institutionalizing a national dialogue day as recommended at the fourth public forum held last year as part of the 58th Independence Day anniversary celebrations. I must emphasize that it is our collective responsibility to preserve the nation as a people or fall together, safeguard the state or face instability, and secure our resources or live with a weak economy.
As planned, the dialogue offers President Adama Barrow an opportunity to hear firsthand the divergent thoughts and feelings of political party leaders on the current state of the country. At the event, party leaders and representatives underscore issues of national development concern affecting the population and express gratitude to the President for creating the platform for dialogue. Here are party leaders of the Gambia Moral Congress and the Gambia Democratic Congress, Mai Ahmed Fati and Mama Kande respectively.
So in terms of corruption, in terms of public finance management, in terms of public accountability, it is the whole nation that is culpable. When we talk about corruption, corruption demands a giver and a receiver. If you do not give, there will be no receiver. And we have laws.
Why is it that no Gambian is safe at the moment? People are killed left, right, and center. This is not our culture. I believe all of us together we can make a change for better Gambia. We have to protect our women, our children, and our sovereignty as a nation.
This dialogue's theme is our collective responsibility in preserving the nation, safeguarding the state, and securing our resources. The need to address issues of national security, the cost of living, economic prosperity, irregular migration of youth, corruption in government, land management, agricultural development, and management of state resources form part of the messages coming from these party leaders and representatives. Alhaji S. Dabo, Administrative Secretary of the UDP, and Halifa Sallah, Secretary General PDOIS respectively, add their voices to the dialogue with President Barrow and his government.
It is not only about management, but also about generation. How do we maximize our production base? That is what we can look into when our people are hungry and they become angry, to silence them down.
And we all know that overstay in office, unconstitutional takeover of office, have also been a disease in our sub-region. and causing a menace. So we should sit down and look at these two issues: unconstitutional overstay in office, unconstitutional assumption of office. How do we save the Gambia from such a reality?
Monday's event at the State House is the first in a series of planned national consultative dialogue events. From this dialogue, President Barrow pledges to take into account issues highlighted by the political party leaders to foster a collective force for national development. This is quite an extraordinary occasion in the political history of the Gambia, offering a unique platform for national unity, peace, and mutual understanding. It also provides an opportunity for complementary partnership among the political class in the best interest of national development. Mohamed Lamin Choi, QTV News.
Now, the International Institute for Democracy and Electoral Assistance, International IDEA, in partnership with the National Assembly of the Gambia and with support from the European Union, is convening an induction meeting with National Assembly members on the resumption of the constitutional reform process in the Gambia. Aliou Cissé reports.
National Assembly members are meeting to kickstart what will be a series of dialogues to build a consensus on a new constitution after the draft constitution bill was dramatically rejected by a narrow parliamentary margin in 2020. Mohamed Ibn Chambers, former UN Special Representative of the Secretary General for West Africa and the Sahel, is leading this meeting, which seeks to revive and try again to pass a draft constitution that reflects the aspirations of all Gambians to serve as a beacon of hope for the sub-region. Mamadou Cissé, the clerk of the National Assembly, says this convergence clearly demonstrates the commitment of the National Assembly to continue the process with an all-inclusive approach.
This dialogue on the resumption of the constitutional building process will provide honorable members of the National Assembly to take a deeper look, more calmly and soberly, into key questions that define our politics and shape our political configuration.
Dessa Tourné, acting UN Resident Coordinator, and Corrado Pampaloni, EU Ambassador to the Gambia, respectively, welcomed the dialogue and hope it eventually usher in a new constitution for the country.
The world is moving fast, and other countries are forging ahead. Let us come together at this historic juncture and put in place the fundamentals.
The involvement and endorsement of the Gambian population in this process is crucial for its legitimacy and success, and will of course be tested at both National Assembly and the referendum.
Mohamed Ibn Chambers, who is leading the discussion, hopes the National Assembly will reach a consensus to pass the draft constitution, which will form part of their legacy.
The Gambia should be proud of the peace that is prevailing. The consolidation of your young democracy, step by step, building block by building block, so that in our sub-region, Gambia is one of the countries that we can point to and say it is a peaceful, stable, young democracy.
Fabakary Tombong Jatta, Speaker of the National Assembly of the Gambia, said the Gambia's transition towards a new democratic dispensation, which started in 2017, has achieved key milestones, most notably the peaceful, inclusive, free and fair presidential and parliamentary elections of December 2021 and March 2022, which were conducted against a backdrop of internal mistrust and tensions between key stakeholders and democratic backsliding in the sub-region.
If democratic backsliding is to be prevented, and the democratic gains of the past few years built upon, then there is the urgent need to resume frank and candid conversation around the constitution building process.
While it remains to be seen what the outcome of the meeting will be, judging by the tune of the debate when the previous draft was debated in the National Assembly, the discussions are likely to be heated. And it will take some skilled negotiations for these politically divided lawmakers to reach a consensus. Reporting for QTV News, I am Aliou Cissé.
As part of efforts to curb smuggling migrants in the Gambia Law Students Association centered its Law Day celebration on the subject to raise awareness amongst university students. Jennifer Sonko has more.
more than 1,000 migrants from sub-Saharan African countries arrived in Spain's Canary Islands in 18 boats over the past 3 days, including Gambians. European countries say they are economically burdened by the provision of border protection and surveillance, detention, expulsion, reception, and integration of irregular migrants. African countries are impacted by the loss of potentially productive young people due to poverty or lack of employment opportunities. Here is Fatu Giobari, National Project Officer, UNODC.
I had an incident from NATIB, the National Agency Against Trafficking in Persons, and we were informed of a case of a victim of trafficking. It was a university student, highly educated, that was coerced to travel to the Arab world to seek employment. She was doing very well at the university, and a grade 9 student came to her and told her, I can offer you a job to travel. Imagine a university student being coerced by a grade 9 student. And they ended up traveling, and they became a victim of trafficking. Now, my point is, we need to know what the ills are in society, and how can you as youth contribute towards fighting it?
The Law Day celebration also serves as a platform to advocate for the enactment of the Smuggling of Migrants Bill to empower law enforcement officers to better clamp down on migrant smugglers in the Gambia. Nene MC Cham, the recently elected president of the Gambia Bar Association, delves into the bill's provisions.
This is an act to protect the human rights and dignity of migrants, to protect and combat smuggling of migrants, to criminalize the conduct of those who profit from migrant smuggling and related conduct through financial or other material benefit, to promote and facilitate national and international cooperation in order to meet these objectives and for connected matters.
Justice Kumbasila Kamara, a Court of Appeal judge, spoke on behalf of the Chief Justice about irregular migration, human rights violations, and cross-border disputes in the region and beyond.
Under human security and vulnerability, irregular migration exposes migrants to insecurity and vulnerability. These individuals often face perilous journeys and uncertain futures.
The Law Students Association, which represents the general law students to safeguard their academic interests and represent them at administrative levels, organizes the Law Day to commemorate and recognize prominent personalities in the legal profession and discuss law-related issues. Here is the Law Students Association President, Sisawa Cham.
As we aspire to become legal practitioners in the near future, I am eager to remind us that today's celebration serves as a unique opportunity for us to remind ourselves of the critical role we can play in shaping our society for a better Gambia. We are expected to be role models by adopting reputable character and always stand for the truth.
The University of the Gambia Faculty of Law was established in 2007 to produce homegrown lawyers. Since its establishment, the school has produced prominent lawyers in the Gambia and beyond. Reporting for QTV News, I am Jenna Bosonko.
That story by Jenna Bosonko will take us to a commercial break, but when we return, we have more international news stories for you as well as sports news. Do stay tuned.
Modu came in to buy some bathroom floor tile, but once he laid eyes on our basins, he fell in love with a stunning basin and with a breathtaking faucet. With a brand new mirror too, at a bargaining price.
So, I got a bathtub too.
Oh yes, he picked up a bathtub too.
Yes, that's Batimat's Bati Days. Take advantage of exceptional discounts up to 50% on tiles, sanitary, electrical, and lighting. From February 3rd to 17th, you will be splurging. Batimat.
Never before in the Gambia, QCell is giving you an unbeatable offer. Activate our 5G network on your 5G-enabled phone and enjoy free internet for 7 days. Yes, you heard that right. Activate QCell's 5G on your phone and experience what true 5G internet feels like. Get your QCell SIM cards activated today at the following care centers: Banjul, Senegambia, Brikama, Bursubi Turntable, Bakau Airport, and Kairaba Avenue headquarters. Rush now and be part of the future with QCell's 5G. Free internet for 7 days only with QCell. For more information, call QCell Customer Care on 111. QCell Senior Bus. We innovate. Orders follow. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome back. If you're just tuning in, you're watching QTV News, and I'm Asma Uba. We now take a look at international news. Now to a tragic story. Two prominent Africans met tragic ends over the weekend. One in a car crash in his home country in Kenya. The other a continent away in a helicopter crash which also claimed the lives of his wife and son. Lena Igwenyiba has more.
In California, Herbert Wigwe, co-founder of Nigeria's Access Bank, perished in a helicopter crash alongside his wife, son, and a former Nigerian stock exchange president. The 57-year-old banking titan, renowned for Access Bank's rapid rise, was reported to be en route to the Super Bowl, leaving a legacy of financial innovation and regional expansion plans. Here, Herbert Wigwe is heard talking about his bank's rapid rise.
The great people of Access Bank who have supported and built this institution, rising from what was one of the smallest banks in the country into what is easily the largest bank today in Nigeria. And the largest in the continent in terms of customer base.
Meanwhile, on the East African plains, Kenyan marathon prodigy Kelvin Kiptum, holder of world records, died in a roadside accident alongside his coach, Gervais Hakizimana of Rwanda. Kiptum's meteoric rise as a marathon star, culminating in a fierce rivalry with Eliud Kipchoge, one of the greatest marathon runners, endeared him to the hearts of Kenyans and the global athletic community. Tributes poured in for both men, with Nigerian President Tinubu and Kenyan Sports Minister Namwaba leading the chorus of sorrow and admiration. President Tinubu described Wigwe's death as shocking beyond comprehension, describing his loss as a terrible blow to Nigeria and Africa's banking industry. Here, Michael Graham of the USA's National Transportation Safety Board, NTSB, gave the first update 1 hour after the crash happened.
Last night at 8:45 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, an Airbus EC-130 helicopter departed Palm Springs, California, en route to Boulder City, Nevada. At about 10:08 p.m., the helicopter impacted the terrain south of I-15 near Halloran Springs, California. Halloran Springs is about 75 miles northeast of Barstow. 2 crew members and 4 passengers were on board and were fatally injured. Before I go any farther, on behalf of the NTSB, I'd like to express our deepest sympathies to the families and loved ones of those who lost their lives in this terrible tragedy.
On Sunday, the NTSB gave a further update. Here's Michael Graham again.
ADSB data, or flight track data, shows the helicopter traveling along Interstate 15, approximately 1,000 to 1,500 feet above ground level. Near the end of the flight track data, it shows a slight right turn, turning south of the interstate. At that time, data shows a gradual descent and increasing ground speed. Flight track data ended about a quarter mile from the wreckage location. The wreckage site shows the helicopter impacted the terrain in a nose-low and right bank angle.
Raila Odinga, Kenya's opposition leader, hailed Kiptum as a true hero and an athletic icon, reflecting the profound impact of their contributions to their nation's progress. As nations mourn their loss, the legacies of Wigwe and Kiptum stand as enduring symbols of excellence and aspiration, inspiring generations to come. Reporting for QTV News, I am Lena Igwenyiba.
We pray that their souls rest in peace. We now take a look at sports news in a moment. Now, Cote d'Ivoire are the champions of Africa after edging out Nigeria 2-1 in the final of AFCON 2023, with Sebastian Haller scoring the winner. Our sports reporter Mudu Gajaga watched it all, and this is his report.
As the final whistle blew to signal the end of the match, it signaled the end of a fantastic tournament, a scenario which seemed barely believable a few weeks ago. In terms of fairy tale endings, it could not be better. The host went from group stage despair to being champions of Africa. It was also fitting that the winning goal was scored by Sebastian Haller. Nigerian captain William Troost-Ekong had scored in the 38th minute against the run of play with a header from a corner, from what was only Nigeria's second attempt on goal. The Super Eagles were outplayed in the first half and only threatened again in a desperate attempt to equalize after Haller's goal. Haller's winner came as he prodded out his boot from close range in the 81st minute to complete the comeback, after Franz Kessié had earlier drawn the Elephants level in the 62nd minute with a header which caught the Nigerian defense off guard. It was the third title for the Elephants after wins in 1992 and 2015, both won on penalties. Ahead of the final, the country's Football Federation issued an optimistic video called On the Way to Victory. It turned out that their optimism was well-founded. Nigeria's highly praised strike force, including current African Footballer of the Year Victor Osimhen, simply failed to spark into life. Haller's second goal in as many games, after recovering from an ankle injury that kept him out of the group stage, completed a personal triumph for the player, just over a year since he returned from a cancer treatment. For host Cote d'Ivoire, the turnaround seemed barely believable. Having lost two of their group stage matches, including a thrashing by Equatorial Guinea, this triumph is truly remarkable. Their poor group stage form, which meant they only scraped through as one of the best third-place teams, led to the sacking of their coach. They then needed a penalty shootout victory and then a 122nd minute winner on their way to booking an improbable place in the final. Nigeria's captain William Troost-Ekong backed the Player of the Tournament award after his outstanding performance as a defender, scoring 3 goals. MS Faye, Cote d'Ivoire's replacement coach, who picked up the pieces after their poor group stage form, was rightly named coach of the tournament. Cote d'Ivoire Simon Adingra, whose cross from the left was turned in by Haller for the winner, was named best young player of the competition. Equatorial Guinea's captain Emilio Nsue, who scored a hat-trick against host Cote d'Ivoire, took home the Golden Boot. For Cote d'Ivoire's president Alassane Ouattara, it was also the perfect ending as he handed over the winner's trophy to his national team in a stadium named in his honor. Mamoudou Gajaga, QTV News.
Congratulations to Cote d'Ivoire. I'm afraid that's all we have for you. But before we go, a recap of our main news headlines. In a hugely significant development, President Adama Barrow on Monday hosted a national dialogue with political party leaders at the State House in Banjul. The International Institute for Democracy and Electoral Assistance, International IDEA, is convening an induction meeting with National Assembly members on the resumption of the constitutional reform process in the Gambia. As part of efforts to curb smuggling of migrants in the Gambia Law Students Association has centered its Law Day celebration on the subject to raise awareness among university students. And in international news, 2 prominent Africans met tragic ends over the weekend, one in a car crash in his home country Kenya, the other in the United States in a helicopter crash with some members of his family. And in sports news, host Cote d'Ivoire are champions of Africa after edging out Nigeria 2-1 in the final of AFCON 2023. That's all we have for you on this news bulletin. Join us again at 10 p.m. for more news. Thanks for watching and have a great evening.